Hey, general contractors, renovation experts, and construction professionals. Protecting your business should be a top priority. Your clients require you to have liability insurance as a condition of the contracts you sign. By having construction liability insurance, you not only fulfill those requirements, but also demonstrate professionalism, reliability, and a commitment to your client's protection. It's a win-win situation for your business. Construction liability insurance is vital to protect you from the risks and liabilities that come with your line of work. It provides essential coverage for property damage, coverage for third-party damage or bodily injury, and other incidents that may occur during construction or renovation projects. Visit zensurance.com/save35 for a free construction liability insurance quote and get the comprehensive protection you need. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey. Today's featured interview is with Canadian Association of Women in Construction board member Lisa Laronde about that organization's continued efforts to get more women into construction careers and ensure they can move upwards once they're there. But first, here's our top headlines. From the east, Niagara Parks is launching a request for proposals for a new visitor transportation system, which will link its sites with a focus on the core tourism area of Queen Victoria Park. Montreal has had a bad few days after its new light rail network, known as the REM, has had 3 disruptions in the first 3 days of operation. Bathurst Quay Common is brewing a new plan for the historic Canada Malting Co property located in Toronto. The landscape designer is PFS Studio, and the constructor is Somerville Construction. The sub-consultant team includes Ombridges for the lighting, Moon Mats Limited for electrical, Blackwell for structural engineering, WSP for civil engineering and environmental, Hanscom for costing, and TerraPro for geotechnical. And a Burlington fire at a construction site knocked out power on August 2nd, affecting approximately 2,850 customers. No injuries were reported. In the west, the Site C project in northeastern British Columbia has hit a milestone with completion of its earthfill dam. The dam stands 60 meters tall, spans a kilometer across the Peace River, and is about 500 meters wide at space, and it's a key goal before filling the Site C reservoir. In Calgary, a $20 million redevelopment of the Stampede Trail, a pedestrian-friendly road in the city's emerging culture and entertainment district, has resumed after a short construction break. Bird Construction has been selected as the preferred proponent for a number of projects, including Southern Alberta Institute of Technology's Campus Centre redevelopment project, the Victor Philip Dadala Hall project at St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia, and 2 long-term care facilities also in Nova Scotia. The combined value of the contract is over $350 million. And in our prefab and modular construction feature, we have a look at how artificial intelligence can, in future, help transform modular and prefab in new and exciting ways. And now here's our interview with Lisa Laronde. Enjoy. How did you initially become involved with CAWIC, and when did you move into your leadership position?
I joined actually in 2019. I was named executive vice president of my company, which was Powell Contracting at the time. RSG International is actually a group of companies, so I have about 15 operating companies under me in North America. And when I first started in my leadership journey, I was named executive vice president of Powell Contracting, as well as 5 other companies. And what I started to do was look at associations. Obviously, my industry is road building. And so I started to look at associations where I could network with other women that were in leadership roles, or just connect with people. As you can imagine, my journey wasn't the easiest. So somebody to actually talk to. And when I started looking for associations, there really wasn't a lot in Canada, or it just wasn't it wasn't easily found. So the first one I did find was CAWIC, and they are also attached with NAWIC, which is the North American Women in Construction. So I registered as a corporate member for CAWIC, and then I actually ran for the board. I met this amazing group of young women that were all had the same outlook of how could we support one another in this industry. So that's what happened. I was named the director of chapters and then industry relations. And then I decided this year to run for president. I like the direction that we're going. I feel like we have a lot of momentum. We have a lot of support. So I think this is the time to take advantage of the opportunities that are presenting themselves to us. One of the things that women don't traditionally do is support one another. So I found this great association that we are all about, empowering and inspiring women, particularly the younger generation coming up. I'm also the Canadian representative for global partners with NAWIC. So now I've met women from other countries, from Australia, New Zealand, England, China, Qatar. And I was laughing about our association. I said, if Qatar can form a women in construction, we can certainly have a national presence.
Mhm.
So, and it's interesting that everybody has the same problems, and it's the same issues. The stats are all the same. They run between 10 and 15% of women involved in construction, and between 3 to 5% are actually in the trades. So we all have the same problems. And it would be awesome if we could join forces together and figure out, how we actually solve some of those problems.
You mentioned the direction. First, let's talk about those. What are some of those problems, and what's the direction that you want the organization to go in, and what direction is it going in that you said you liked in the first place?
So one of the things is we are based mainly in Southern Ontario. So one of the things I like, and one of the first things I'm going to roll out as president, is to have this national voice. So my president-elect is actually based out of Alberta. Her name is Kristen Hallberg, and she's done an amazing job of promoting CAWIC in Western Ontario. And we did recognize, in order for us to be a national association, we need representation from all sides of the country. There's different ways we need diversity at the end of the day, and that can come from provincially, education, work, or skill set. So obviously that's something that's near and dear to my heart. So that's one of the things that is very, very important for me, to have this national voice. I'd also like to be the industry go-to, or the industry expert for women in construction. I do feel like that's lacking. If you want to be an apprentice, or you want to be a welder, or you want to be even a laborer, where do you go? What do you need to do? What training do you need? What are the hours like? Does it make sense? I'd also like to change the reputation of laborers or construction laborers, that they're, it's menial jobs. They're good jobs. They pay good money. They have good benefits. They have good pension plans. It also at some point allows you, if you want to be a welder or plumber or electrician, that potentially you could run your own business. So I think we need to change the narrative of what it's like to be a person in the trades. And I'd like to be part of that as CAWIC, so that we can promote women and just show people that being a laborer in whatever capacity is not this menial job.
There's been improvement over the last decade, but I went down to Vegas for Con Expo, and I talked to a woman who's an activist in getting more women in the trades. And she said, which I'm sure you're going to say too, it's the retention that's the problem. So has that improved? And if not, why not?
I'm going to say biasly yes. So I think you have people like myself that are leading construction organizations, and we have a different culture. So I think now we have a long road to go. I think at the end of the day, you want to retain women in the trades. The harassment has to stop, and the discipline for taking time off for attending to either pick up a sick child or attending to a family member, that has to stop. We have to change the narrative, and that's only going to come from education, and that's going to come from the top down. I am tired of listening to the stories of women reaching out and saying, and these are standards. So there's a standard across Canada. I went to my foreman's male, my superintendent's male. My foreman has been either talking to me inappropriately or is touching me, not in a sexual manner, just touching me inappropriately. I don't feel comfortable. I've escalated to the superintendent, and the superintendent says, oh, Joe's a touchy-feely guy. He doesn't mean anything about it. It's a slap on, it's probably a hug, a slap on the back. He does it to everybody. It's okay. If you want to escalate it, then it's going to go to HR, and they're going to do an investigation. And personally, I've been through this, that we've done the investigation. It was about inappropriate conversations that were happening. And at the end of the investigation, it came through that the decision was we couldn't make a decision because it was a he said, she said. And it was interesting. I was talking to my 20-something-year-old daughter, saying it's very frustrating for a person in my position that we can't do anything about this and we can't actually make a decision. And she said to me, Mom, you made a decision. I'm like, no, we didn't. She said, yes, you did. You sided with the guy. I'm like, holy shit, you're right. That's exactly what we just did. And so on behalf of my company and myself, I apologize to the woman. I said, I'm very sorry. We need to work together now. You need to be part of this committee with me to figure out, how do we change this? How do we change this narrative so that when you said this conversation is inappropriate, instead of doing an investigation, we just have a conversation with the guy and saying, listen, this is what's happened. This is how your words are being taken. I understand it's not the intent. We're not going to discipline you, or, but we have to have this candid conversation that you're in this position of power because you are. And so now you have to understand the intent of your words or the intent of your actions. And if somebody says, this is how I'm taking it, you have to stop. That's just at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
No excuses. You have to stop. And I'm going to take it the same way that this is what happens in the trades. We're used to this, and I'll just quote it as the old boys network, that all of this behavior was acceptable. And that's what has to change. And that's only going to change with education. The construction industry had the highest suicide rate, and they're liking that, or they're linking that is because the men that are in the industry don't feel empowered to speak up when they're struggling. And if we can change that narrative, and it's not a sign of weakness, this is the ability to be open and honest and be inclusive across the board, that we have to actually have conversations with each other. And education is the first step for us to understand that our actions have ramifications. And until we can do that, we'll never be able to change that narrative. When we started our DEI committee here at RSG, the first things that we did was went through an Equity 101 training. And this is where I had I'm an advocate for women in construction, inclusion, and diversity. I speak, I'm passionate about it. And here's where I learned. I have my own unconscious biases. And I talk about this to a lot of the men to have them understand we all do this. You're not alone. But all we need to do is learn from it. So I was approached by somebody said, did I have 9 women that were in senior leadership roles that could participate in a leadership conference? And I was, oh my God, I absolutely do. I'm so excited. And then she said, how many of them are white? And they all were. So that's my unconscious bias. So now I'm like, okay, but I just have to recognize that. What am I going to do to change that narrative? You want to hire women for jobs. Statistically, women will only apply for jobs if they possess all of the skill sets. So you will not have women apply for your jobs unless you change the wording of how your job postings go up. So that's you don't know that unless you go through a form of equity training that you understand just, again, the ramifications of your actions.
That leads into my next question about diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. What are some of those initiatives that CAWIC's doing?
So it's brand new. So we've just accomplished our land acknowledgement, which is on our website. We'd like to have an interactive map that highlights all the Indigenous territories so that when you, depending on where your company is located, you can have your own land acknowledgement. It does change, and it's sometimes difficult to understand which territory you're actually on. And that would be part of our Truth and Reconciliation. We're going to put resource kits together so that our membership has access to things like understanding the importance of pronouns, understanding workplace psychological safety. That's very important. Mental health, wellness. So we're trying to form toolkits. We've also joined the 50-30 Challenge, which is a government initiative to try to increase representation in workplaces and inclusion. I'm hoping to roll that one out. And we would like to offer the training. If we could offer the Equity 101 training to our membership, I think that would be ideal for us.
Next, you have a bursary program, and also you worked on a Habitat for Humanity build. So maybe you could talk about those 2 projects.
Sure. The bursary program's awesome. I mean, it offers $1,000 to $2,000 to women that are in construction-related education institutions, and again is the promotion, trying to promote women into the field. And again, sometimes we understand that that's a financial burden, so this gives you an opportunity. We offer some specifically just for the trades, and others for industry or construction related educational institutions. We partner with Habitat for Humanity, and it's the Women's Build. So it's the group of women that get together to obviously build homes for people that can't afford them. And it's an opportunity for us to highlight women in the trades, as well as getting together as networking. So you can meet other women that are in the trades, or not necessarily in the trades, but in construction related fields. It gives you an opportunity to meet and connect with people and make a difference.
You mentioned going national, or becoming more of a national presence. Besides what you already talked about, what are some of the steps that you're trying to take to do that? I mean, I imagine it's on a practical level, it can be a little difficult with Canada being as big as it is.
Yeah, oh, definitely. It is. And one of the first challenges that we're facing is trying to offer some of our educational or our programming with the time changes. So now we're going to look to industry, government, We need the big GCs to be on board, the national GCs. And if we can partner with those and some of these associations like unions or the other construction associations, if we can partner with them to be able to offer programming, because I think that that's one of the key things for our national voice. So our programming, our DEI, which offers our resources to our membership, we can increase our membership, increase our voice, and then we can actually start to form chapters that would actually identify, because each province is going to have different challenges. If you look at some of the stats, Alberta's has consistently overperformed, if that's the right way to put that out there, for women in construction. So they're over the national average and have consistently done that. So we should learn from them, and we should share those not secrets, but what they did to be able to get to those numbers. And when you look at it, they went into the elementary schools and the high schools, and they promoted the trades, and exactly what I'd said earlier about this is they aren't menial jobs, they're good jobs. You have lots of opportunities and advancement. So if we can learn from Alberta and start to roll that out in other provinces, I think we'll be very successful with this national voice.
Okay, and finally, if people are interested, and I assume they are, in joining CAWIC or getting more information, where should they go to find all that out?
The website is the best place to go. It's the CAWIC, obviously. The other place is to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always looking for women that are interested in what we're doing and want to lend a hand. So I would be more than willing to connect with anybody that's interested in joining.
Okay, thanks for joining us today.
Awesome, thank you. It's been awesome.
And that's it for this episode of the Construction Record Podcast. But before we go, I'd like to point you to www.constructconnect.com/construction-economic news. There you'll find Chief Economist Alex Carrick and Senior Economist Michael Gooks analysis of the economy and the construction industry. And specifically, you'll find Michael's new video series, The Construction Economics Brief. Every month, he puts out a short video to highlight trends he's seeing in the broader construction economy. If you'd like to hear more episodes of the Construction Record Podcast, we're on Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify, as well as the daily commercial news and Journal of Commerce websites. Thanks for listening.